Davis over this spring?
Dave's been great. Just like what I've said earlier, the experience that he brings to the game, it's helping everybody out. He's got a lot of good ideas. He's been there and seen about every imaginable situation possible. And, it's been great working with him. He's added more to the offense. And, we're starting to really click and get things going. So it's been great so far.
You got another 30 practices, obviously, in the summer, but you starting to see any clarity on the O-line?
Kind of. With having Mike Matthews out this spring, it's been great for the other people to step up and showcase what they're capable of doing. So, it's still wide open. There's about 4 or 5 people competing for those starting guard positions. But once Mike gets back, it'll be pretty good.
I think Fetty's done a really good job at left tackle. Does it look solidified, or is that still a fall camp?
That's still up in the air. We're repping him at both. He's taking both reps at right tackle and left tackle. So, once we get through those 30 practices in fall camp, or probably less than that, we'll probably solidify that down and keep them in one position so they all can start gelling as a unit.
I heard Kyle get a little bit upset with himself, and that was just during warm-ups after a couple bad throws. A competitive guy, but how is he channeling that on the field, making decisions, taking the lead like you said you would hope that he would do for the spring ball?
Yeah, Kyle, one of the things too is, he knows he's out there and you got Connor McQueen in the backups, and that Kyler Murray's going to come here in the fall, so he's got to increase his competition. The competition will increase once he gets here, so he's got to personally compete with himself, and he's a very prideful kid. You see him go out there and compete, and he probably gets a little too emotional at times, but I like to see that and to see the desire in his eyes to get out there and get better each day.
How's he making with his decision making and things like that? You said you would hope to not help them make those decisions, but he'd take the lead this spring.
Yeah, he's getting better each day, and that's, this is our 14th practice today. We've been through the installation 4 times, so he's gotten 4 opportunities to rep every single play in our playbook right now, and even the additional ones that we've added with Coach Moorhead and Coach Christensen. But so far he's getting better at it each day, and especially going up against an aggressive scheme like what Coach Chavis brings, which is a little different than what we've seen the past spring balls and past fall practices. So it's been good for him to just see different looks out there and go out there and compete and try to get the continuity and the timing with the receivers.
How much has your offense improved going up against Coach Chavis in that style?
A lot. If you go from the first practices, we had a new offensive line coach, we had a new receiver coach, so just traditionally you're going to improve over that, but both sides of the ball are competing against each other, and I like that. There's sometimes they get after us and we get after them, so the competition is great. So just that added factor out there that we're out there competing against each other has been great so far.
I know he's been a little nicked up this spring, but with the kind of the lack of depth at quarterback, has Speedy gotten any chance to take any looks or anything at QB?
Not yet. That's definitely something that we're going to talk about in the fall. We had a certain package built in for him right now, but hopefully we don't have to get to that point.
What do you want to see from your guys on Saturday as you wrap up spring?
I want them to compete. It's your last time to go out there, and none of the coaches are going to be out there on the field, so it's time to let it loose, and no one's going to be out there helping you, so you got to compete and take some pride in it and see if we can move the ball. And we're going to put them in a lot of tough situations. They're going to be backed up. There's going to be some more 2-minute situations for them, so I want them to focus up and take the most out of this practice leading into the summertime, because we're still a ways away, and if we get some good momentum going into the summertime and fall camp, that's going to be good for us.
Jake, there's been consistent buzz about Ricky throughout spring. How has he continued to progress, and how has he benefited from Moorhead?
He's benefited greatly, because the joke is Amo's pretty big as well, Coach Moorhead, and we think that Amo and Ricky are pretty similar, so I see that he tends to work with Ricky a lot because they're pretty similar, and how they used to play. But I see Ricky improving drastically each day. Again, this is his second full year of being a receiver, so he's out there working on the little things, working on the ball skills. The thing they used to struggle with was pushing the depths, of getting to the right depths and working with that timing with the quarterback, and he's really taken pride in that, and you can see great steps that he's taken so far this spring.
You pretty much got your full wideout core this spring. Has anybody impressed you or maybe surprised you, and how have the newcomers Kirk and Riley looked?
Christian and Riley, they've gotten great from day one. Especially, you see Riley at the beginning of these spring practices, his head was spinning, and you can see it starting to slow down these past couple of practices. And he's a big physical guy. He's got great ball skills, and hopefully he can continue on, and hopefully you can see him out there on the field next year. And see Kirk, he keeps getting better each day as well. And the thing I like about him, he's a professional. he's here on business, and he goes out there and he's got the right mindset, and that kid's naturally just going to keep getting better for us. But overall, as a unit, those kids are out there competing. That's a good thing that you're returning everybody. We were a very young team last year, and just having all those kids back and getting more added reps at it, I think they're naturally going to get better as a unit.
Talked about Coach Christensen. What have you seen from Coach Moorhead and his work with the receivers so far this spring?
Technique. He's very good at technique, and he's again going up against an aggressive scheme like Coach Chavis. Those kids have got to be able to get off press coverage, and he has brought that added dimension because he was an NFL player, so he's been up against press coverage for a lot, and he knows the ins and outs and the little nuances how to get in and out of press coverage. So he's been great with technique, and just his knowledge of the game. He's seen it all as well. So it's good for him to actually get out there and relate with the kids.
Do the receivers act like they like that physical game up front?
Yeah, and Coach Moorhead always reminds them every single day, like, this is the closest thing that you're going to get to the NFL, so you better get used to doing it now, because if teams that go out there and play zone and make it easier on you, it's naturally going to be easier for the kids to have success. But when you get somebody up in your face, you better be good and better be ready to get open, because that's pretty much 90% of the NFL.
Have you had a chance, I don't know if it's maybe something y'all do in the summer, but to sit down with Chavis and look at, say, how would you defend this package, or you did this really well against us. How were y'all able to do that? Have y'all had a chance to do that much?
Not as much yet, but over the time since it's starting to slow down, we've had some discussions, and I've asked him why he does certain things and certain techniques, and and then of course I go out there and I try to scheme it up the next practice. But it's he's been great just to sit down there and learn from him and from a defensive perspective.
How have Brandon Williams and James White taken advantage of Carson being out?
They've been taking advantage great. I think James White's had the best spring so far. The way he is, he's a big body. He's getting better each day, and just with Trey being out, he's gotten that opportunity to get better. B. Will, he's on a mission right now. You can tell that he's put on a lot of weight. He's gotten bigger. He looks good out there. He's still got the same amount of speed and a bigger body right now. So, having Trey Carson out, those two have gotten a lot of reps so far this spring.
How does the Major League Baseball draft fit into your schedule, and how much are you talking to Kyler these days?
I'm talking to Kyler about it every other day. We still keep in contact. I know he's DHing for the team right now, and hopefully he keeps continuing with the success there. But it's definitely going to be on the calendar to keep an eye on.